Hi, Abigail. This is Marie Mahoney. I'm just responding to your wonderful post that you did. I like your points about the whole process of negotiation. I did have that sense that Israeli and Egyptian delegations were sort of yanking the United States around. I sort of had that feeling, but I didn't really know how to put it into words. So thank you. You did that for me. And your point about Carter not seeing the value of linkage until the end of his presidency. And yeah, he didn't seem to be maybe a skilled negotiator in terms of being able to walk to the brink and then walk away, which I sensed that, or Begin was pretty skilled at that. He was pretty tough. So, and there did seem to be sort of I sensed that there was, or I saw from the evidence presented by Quandt, that there was sort of a stronger linkage and team relationship between Carter and Sadat. Definitely there was some rubbing of issues and personalities between Begin and Carter. So that very intense situation, and I totally agree with your point that Carter was invested and had kind of put his whole presidency into working on the Middle East process, because as Quandt said, I believe he really thought that if they could just sit down and talk to each other, that they could start working out their issues and that it's a problem that could be solved. And I think he set his mind to try to iron out the problem, and he focused on it, but in some ways he focused to the detriment of the political opinion, domestic political opinion, because Americans generally tend to be, as the author has pointed out, so pro-Israeli, and the Congress also. So there also were very different great difference in opinion between Reagan and Carter and their styles of leadership. They both had strong personalities, and as you mentioned, Reagan was willing to walk away, as he demonstrated with the Soviet situation. And Reagan was dealing with so many different problems. He was dealing with the Soviets, and he was also dealing with terrorist issues, also state terrorism issues, murders of diplomats and hostage situations. Very, very intense situation. Also, you mentioned how Carter was involved personally with the negotiations, and I also noticed that Reagan believed in direct negotiation, where Carter was personally involved. Reagan said, no, let the two parties that have issues deal with each other, the direct negotiation point. And then also, I think that you mentioned that Carter, that things would have been the same if Carter stayed, that he just kind of would have gone on with his approach and his trajectory towards working towards more peace. Do you think that Reagan's style, sort of his two terms, sort of interrupted it in terms of a timeline? I know Carter was definitely the one who introduced the old concept of the Palestinian homeland, where Reagan, once he hired Schultz to be the Secretary of State, there was more of a push towards Middle East peace settlements. But Reagan's stance was very strong and very tough in terms of no dealing with the PLO whatsoever, and he did not support an idea for a Palestinian state. So do you feel like Reagan's perspective sort of stalled the whole Palestinian issue, which is what Sadat was so concerned about? He was afraid that his Arab neighbors would see him as not dealing with the Palestinian issue and only dealing with Israel, which actually proved to be the case with his assassination. So do you feel like if Carter had been president, that there would have been more movement towards establishment of a Palestinian state at this point? What are your thoughts on that? Okay, thank you, Abigail, and have a great rest of the day.